Hey, what's going on, everybody? In this video, we're going to be doing my April book haul, where I got a total of 9 books this month. 3 of them were given to me by friend Tim. If you guys remember from one of the really early episodes, one of the used bookstore haul ones, I think. Anyways, he gave me 3 fantasy books, and I picked up 6 more books. So let's get started, and I'm going to start with the 3 that I was given. So first up, we have The Broken Sword by Paul Anderson, and he gave me this book because I told him I wanted to read fantasy books from basically every time period that fantasy was written, even like the old classics and that sort of thing. And he said he thought I might like it, so he gave me this one. And interestingly, for the One Readathon to rule them all, I'm reading a Paul Anderson book, one of his renditions of Conan story, Conan the Rebel. So I thought that was kind of an interesting coincidence. Next up is Phantastes and Lilith by George MacDonald, and this is like one of the first fantasy books like written, I think, in the 1800s, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I have no idea anything about it, but apparently this is like old school fantasy. And lastly, he gave me an omnibus edition of The Once and Future King by T.H. White. And he knows I like Arthurian studies a little bit, so he thought I might enjoy it. And this is also a classic fantasy series type of thing. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one as well. Now for the fantasy book that I bought for myself, this month I got Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings, the first book in the Stormlight Archive. And basically I was just getting beaten over the head with people recommending Sanderson books to me. Whenever I ask for fantasy recommendations, so I figure, yeah, I kind of like need to basically just to get one and start it. I guess it's a little daunting. They're like all over 1,000 pages basically, but yeah, definitely excited. I haven't read Sanderson, anything else by Sanderson before, so yeah, just looking forward to it. I'm going to be reading this one pretty soon for the One Readathon to rule them all, for the 1,000-page book requirement for one of the challenges. So yeah. Hopefully this will be good. Now, see what it's all about. If you guys have been following my channel, you guys know I also enjoy animal sciences a lot. So I picked up The Genius of Birds because I figure I'll like it, and my wife will probably also like it. And it shows how birds have multiple different kinds of intelligences, I guess you could say, and it just sounds really interesting, so I picked it up. For a World War I book, I picked up the next book in the Eastern Front series by Prit Buttar, and this one is Germany Ascendant, the Eastern Front in 1915. And this series, it's a 4-book series, deals with pretty much the Eastern Front of World War I, which is fairly neglected compared to the Western Front, which is kind of ironic because in World War II, Eastern Front studies is like a really big thing. But yeah, this is the second book. I finished this one, The Collision of Empires, the War on the Eastern Front in 1914, and this is like one of the most dense books I've like ever read, especially since I'm not like super well versed in World War I history, especially the Eastern Front. Obviously, this is the first book I've ever read just on the Eastern Front. But yeah, these are super dense books, but I love World War I history, so I was really excited to pick this one up. And it's got great information. It's a little dry, it gets inherently dry, but just tons, just jam-packed with strategic overviews, tactical overviews, insights and thoughts on why, people did certain actions and what was going on, literally like on like a day-to-day basis almost. So yeah, really interesting. I enjoy it, and I'm gonna read the rest of the series. So glad I picked up Germany Ascendant. It has come to my attention basically that I might have something of a disdain for anthropology, which is kind of weird since I'm like a history person. I just don't think I've ever really read an anthropology book that I liked. So when I saw Lone Survivors, How We Came to Be the Only Humans on Earth by Chris Stringer, I thought, maybe this will be the book that'll change my mind on anthropology. And yeah, hopefully it looks really interesting, and I'm hoping I'm going to learn a lot. And maybe I'll have a different view of anthropology after reading it. I also want to start a Theodore Roosevelt collection, if you guys didn't see my earlier videos about that. And I finished reading The Rise of Theodore Roosevelt by Edmund Morris, and this is the first book in a trilogy over Theodore Roosevelt. And this one deals from his birth, basically, to the vice presidency. And I picked up Theodore Rex this month, which is the next book in the trilogy, which deals with his tenure as President of the United States. And yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed this biography. And like I said, it's a continuation basically. And this one won the Pulitzer Prize. So even though this one didn't, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be well written, just like this one. And hopefully, yeah, hopefully it's really good. Anticipating it's gonna be a 5-star book, just like this one. And I'm really excited to get to this one, hopefully in the near future. And lastly, for the book I'm most excited for, because I've heard really, really good things about it, and it's just awesome. I was really excited when it came in the mail, is Legions of Rome, The Definitive History of Every Imperial Legion by Stephen Dando Collins. And one of my friends has highly, highly, highly recommended this book, so I knew I had to pick it up when I saw it on sale. And about half the book is just a really detailed history of the Roman Legion, like every position, you know, how they were trained, and basically anything you could think of about any question about the Roman Legion during the Imperial era. It's probably answered. And then the second half of the book, it deals with, well, it says every Imperial Roman Legion. I don't know if it's presumably it's every Imperial Roman Legion, but about 300 or 400 pages of the book is just dedicated to going through every single legion and describing how they were formed, who formed them, and basically what they did throughout their history. You know, like what provinces they served in, and like what major battles or campaigns they fought in, and who commanded them. And that, to me, like as a basically a really big Roman history scholar, this was just a tremendous find. I'm really, really excited I picked it up. This is probably one I'm going to reference a lot in my studies, even after I read it. So yeah, I'm super excited to pick this one up for less than $10, and it also just looks really awesome. So yeah, super excited about this one. And well, there you have it, guys. These are the 9 books I picked up in the month of April. Tell me what you guys think, if you liked any of them or read any of them. Tell me what you think about them, and always remember, read victoriously.